Bauman, B-A-U-M-A-N, and Cynthia Hogan, C-Y-N-T-H-I-A, Hogan, H-O-G-A-N. I think I got that right. Okay.
We know your name, but if you could state it, spell it for the camera, please.
Eric Grubman, E-R-I-C, last name G-R-U-B-M-A-N.
And your title?
Executive Vice President.
What did you think about the ideas from the crowd tonight?
What I got from the crowd was the passion and the emotion. There were a couple ideas that we need to think about, but this is not the time to negotiate. And we weren't trying to negotiate with the crowd. What we were trying to do is give them a voice and be able to carry that voice back, and that happened pretty effectively, I think.
What was different here versus the other two cities?
Mr. Davis being here and the mayor being here changed the dynamic. There are multiple people that have multiple leaders, I should say, that have to get together to do these things, and to have a couple of them in the room gave the crowd the opportunity to address them directly. That's not what these hearings are set up for, but that's what the people wanted to do. And we respect that, and it changed the dynamic.
So Eric, were there surprises this process? Anything surprised you? Is this what you expected?
What surprised me more than anything else is the reaction of the NFL employees. Everybody's a fan, and to witness that passion in 3 cities, 3 nights in a row with a lot of travel is already a bit to put people through. And they're not callous to it. They feel it, and to feel it in 3 cities, I think, and to watch that happen, it really brings it home to you how much it means.
In the Oakland context, is it fair to say that more came out of this than you expected, considering the ideas?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I'm not going to pit city against city against city. Each of the 3 cities expressed themselves in their own way, and they expressed themselves very passionately and very effectively.
Eric, you said there was a couple ideas tonight. I think that's something along those lines. What were they? You said some new ideas.
Well, the one new idea that I hadn't heard yet and that we hadn't thought of, and we wouldn't think of it. We wouldn't ask the fans to put up money on some volunteer basis. But the one fan who spoke about that's worth us looking at. Not to ask them to do it, but just at least if they ask our help, we want to be prepared.
You mean the city and the county?
No, the fans expressed an interest in themselves putting up the money in something other than PSLs. But let me not try to have you think that we want them to do it, or that we expect them to do that, or that they need to do that for us to be able to reflect the passion that came out of this. It's just, it was an interesting idea, and we'll look at it.
But like Green Bay, for instance.
Well, Green Bay occurred at a time when the rules were different. Our rules now would preclude public ownership of any kind.
Eric, I'm sure that you and your colleagues knew this was a very passionate fan base, just as they are in St. Louis, as they are in San Diego. Really, what's served by an event like this for you and for the NFL?
Well, it's not to serve me. It's to serve the owners. It's a bad choice of words. It's to give the opportunity for the owners to hear directly from the fans. And the way to do that is to put the NFL in a room together with the fans, and not have you all, with all due respect, you do a great job, but you can get between the fans and the league and the fans of their team, and they don't often get a chance to express themselves directly and to ask their questions directly. This was that opportunity, and for them, I think it was very cathartic, and you heard that in their voices in 3 cities.
Eric, do you have any indication the owners were paying attention to this at all, or have you gotten any word that...
Yes, I've gotten emails from owners, including committee owners that are on the committee, just reflecting the fact that they watched part of it. We've had requests for some of the material to be produced in a way that makes it easy for them to see it without perhaps logging on to the website and so forth and so on. We've had requests from owners for the comments to be summarized. We've had questions from the commissioner on ways that it could be put together. So I have lots of evidence that people are watching and they want the information.
Can you tell us
where do you go from here? What do you do next with this information you gathered these last 3 nights? Do you go make a formal presentation to the rest of the owners? What do you do with this information?
Well, we know we're going to do. Well, we know we're doing 3 things, and we're considering thing another. Thing one is it was streamed live, so anybody, including owners who couldn't be here and wanted to see it live, could see it. Secondly, we're archiving it, so it's available for owners and club personnel and others to be able to go back and view it. And third, we're compiling a written summary of not only what happened here in these 3 nights, but also the written comments that we received. We're considering a fourth, which is to produce something out of the 9 hours, which gives the flavor of what came out of each one of these cities in some sort of a video or production which could bring it to life, but not necessarily have to ask someone to spend 9 hours to do that.
Eric, will you make a report on the 11th to the committee?
I'm
Will
sorry?
you make a report on this to the committee on the 11th?
Yes, we will make a report. I think that by the time we will have made a report, all of the owners will have read all of your reports, and they probably will have already sampled themselves. So I'm actually pretty confident that when we begin to talk to the people on the committee and the owners at large, they will have a good flavor for the passion of the fans.
Is it somewhat troubling that even after all this time, with the possibility that Oakland Raiders may relocate, that there's still so little progress in terms of a stadium proposal, or like things like that we're still basically at roughly square one here in terms of progress with an Oakland stadium?
It's not hard for me when there is nothing on the table to say that there's nothing on the table. It's very hard for me to be a pessimist and say that something can't happen. It's not in my nature, and it's not in the nature of the NFL, and it's not in the nature of the game to be hopeless. I don't think the mayor would have sat here for 3 hours.
No, she
The
wouldn't.
city leadership had given up on this. And I don't think the owner would have sat here for 3 hours if he'd given up on Oakland. And I can't speak for anybody else other than say what I think they would do, but I know what I would do. I wouldn't have sat here for 3 hours and walked around today for 4 if I thought it was hopeless.
Eric,
So
what's
What
You have to ask Mark.
Mark,
what is next, though? I mean, after you disseminate, you put all the information together, and is there a vote that the owners do, and it's
There'll be a vote if there's an application. I don't know that there will be applications. We have a process that's been in place to enable that as soon as early January, but I by no means know that that's going to happen. We simply don't know what's going to happen.
Eric,
You
is there
met
anything
with
that you
the
see
mayor
coming out of the 11th meeting, the November 11th meeting? What's going to be the kind of on the itinerary?
The agenda for the November 11th meeting hasn't been set, so I can't speak to that yet.
You met with the mayor today, and you met with Mark Davis. Can you give us a little sample of how that meeting went?
The meeting was a meeting of all of us together, so there weren't separate meetings. It was a good exchange of things like what does the timeline look like, and what are the various pieces that would have to be discussed in order for there to be progress, but there were no negotiations.
Is there a next tangible step for the league in Los Angeles other than waiting for the teams to work on their various proposals?
Other than continuing analysis of the potential and those sorts of things, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.